You are Locked On Trojans Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Los Angeles on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On USC Trojans Postcast on the Locked On USC YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. I am Pete Fox, covering sports in LA dating back to 2007. Covered the Trojans for ESPN LA for a good majority of that time. I also worked for NBC Sports Radio. Tonight's episode of the Locked On Trojans Postcast is brought to you by Mazda. Like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every move count, pulling off the unexpected is only the beginning. Stay tuned later for highlights on this week's Moving the Game Forward Mazda Move and Be Moved. All right, so nice win for the Trojans. Off to a good start in Big Ten play. Undefeated in Big Ten play.
This is what you'll be talking about.
Trojans hit the road with the highest scoring offense in college football, the most yards in college football, and the least amount of respect in college football. Will this 33-17 win over the Purdue Boilermakers in West Lafayette, Indiana, get them any respect? Maybe a little. It might get them into the top 25 potentially, but I still don't think people believe in the Trojans. They don't think that they have the ability to be a contender, which is a little surprising to me because after this one, they should have some confidence. I mean, the Trojans did just about everything right in this game. I think the one thing we could say was not great. The coverage at times was a little bit lacking on the outside. As far as the Purdue running the ball, they ran it for 52 yards. So I think the line did a nice job of slowing them down on the run. But Ryan Brown threw for over 300, one touchdown. But to go with those 300 yards, he also threw 3 interceptions. So the defense, without a doubt, showed up ready to play, and they made life difficult on Purdue offensively. So did the defense win this game for the Trojans? Pretty much. JADEN MIAVA was very good once again. Nothing to complain about there. Threw for 282 yards, 17 of 28, no touchdowns, but also no interceptions. He did run one in, which was nice to see. Wayman Jordan ran for 77 yards and 1 touchdown as well. So, who's your player of the game?
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
This one is not too terribly difficult for me. Without a doubt, on the defensive side of the ball, the 2 interceptions from Bishop FITZGERALD, including a huge pick in the fourth quarter as the Boilermakers were driving down to make it a 1-score game. He made a fantastic interception there and basically ended the game for the Trojans. So Bishop FITZGERALD, a fantastic game on defense today with 2 interceptions. But as far as the highlight of the game, this one is without a doubt very, very easy for me because it was a crazy third quarter. The Boilermakers scored a very bizarre touchdown, which we'll talk about after we will talk about the pick 6 from JAMAL JARRETT. Jamari Ramsey came on a corner blitz, knocked the ball loose from Brown, popped up, and there is the big offensive lineman, 300 plus, Jamal Jarrett, number 0. Ball pops right into his hands. He fumbles it around, nearly drops it, comes away with it, and rumbles his way into the end zone for a 70-yard touchdown. Get that man some oxygen. They say he runs a 5.3 40, but that's 70 is quite a bit more than 40. And he started to run out of gas, but you got to love that. I mean, that was fantastic. Rumble, young man rumble, as he was just huffing it down the field. So good to see that. It's the first Pick six by a defensive lineman of the USC Trojans since 1999. So that was awesome. And for me, that was without a doubt the play of the game. But Bishop FITZGERALD with a couple of picks was also the player of the game and just fantastic. Another defensive standout that deserves mention and acknowledgement and shouts out is Eric Gentry. All over the field on defense, getting after the quarterback, making tackles. He had 8 solo tackles and 2 sacks, 3 TFLs. Just, a fantastic game for him. He was everywhere that he needed to be all at once. Bishop FITZGERALD not far behind him, 5 solo tackles, and of course the 2 interceptions. The defense was ready to go. At times, the corners were a little bit loose, the coverage wasn't what we would hope for, but at the same time, it felt to me a lot like it was a bend, don't break mentality. And, this Trojan team, it's a new year. It's a new attitude. The fact that JADEN MIAVA has the whole season under center is a feather in his cap. And, the Trojans look like a different team. I like the fact that they don't have as many receivers. I love this duo of Jacoby Lane and what are they calling them? Lane and Lemon. Lemon Lane is what they're calling him. Yes. Makai Lemon and Jacoby Lane. Jacoby Lane led the way for the receivers, 3 catches, 115 yards. Makai Lemon had 5 catches for 63 yards. Lake McCree was second on the list with 67 yards, 3 catches. But the fact that there aren't as many, there are 2 very good options. And then you add in Lake McCree and Tunuk Hines. It fills things out for JADEN MIAVA and makes life easier for him, not having to check down so many times as he gets so many receivers that he's, trying to get comfortable with them all. I love what the receiving room has for them this year. And I feel like it makes the Trojans a better team that there's just 2 or 3 options. There's not all sorts of different options for them. And it just feels like MIAVA, Lane and Lemon and McCree all getting very, very comfortable. When I heard this stat, I got a little worried. At this point in time, I think the Trojans were up 10-0. You felt like, hey, this is going to be a comfortable win, which it turned out to be 33-17. But coming into this game, the Trojans had lost 9 in a row in the Eastern time zone. Their last win in the Eastern time zone was versus Syracuse. Matt Barkley under center, 2012. That's when I was covering the Trojans. Don't really remember that specifically, but I was definitely around there when Matt Barkley was the quarterback and racking up big numbers for USC. And then if you throw in games in the Central time zone, the Trojans have lost 14 in a row away from LA. So this was a big win for them and much deserved. And the bottom line is, I think it gets people to start thinking that the Trojans are at least going to be a formidable foe. They're not going to be a pushover and a mess like they were last year. So let's hope they keep this up and keep rolling. Obviously, things are going to get tougher in the Big Ten. This was, a fairly easy opponent, and it works out nicely. The Trojans now 3-0, but, they put up good numbers and did what they had to do. Now, as to what comes next, we'll talk about that after the break. One of our viewers says they'll lose 4 of their next 6 games. We'll look and see if I agree with that. Somebody right below him says, nah. And then he said, we suck. So I'm a little confused there. Durick24. Do you think they'll lose 4 of 6, or do you think they'll lose all 6? I don't know what's going on there. But so far, so good. Of course we'll speculate, but right now everything is looking good and feeling good. Billy Ray. I am Pete Fox. It is the Locked On USC Trojans postcast on the Locked On USC YouTube channel, where you can find the Locked On USC podcast Monday through Friday, hosted by Mark. I always forget Mark's last name. But check out Mark Monday through Friday with the Locked On USC Trojans postcast with an in-depth examination of what is going on in the Trojan universe. Tonight's episode of the Locked On Trojans Postcast is brought to you by Mazda, moving the game forward. For those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it. There are moments that do more than put points on the board. They move crowds, move culture, and keep moving the game forward. This week's moment that moved the game forward is pretty easy for me. JAMAL JARRETT, a pick six by a 300-pounder defensive lineman for 70 yards. That's what we come away from this game remembering, and it really changed the momentum, or I should say it solidified the momentum for the Trojans. When you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning, and just like that, there's more to every highlight. There's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. Tonight's episode also brought to you by Drip Drop. If you're trying to stay on top of your routine, whether that's workouts, long days on campus, or staying focused through back-to-back classes, hydration is where it all starts. And that's where Drip Drop comes in. Drip Drop is a doctor-developed and scientifically proven for fast hydration. It uses the perfect balance of sodium, electrolytes, and glucose to help your body absorb fluids quickly, delivering 3 times the electrolytes and half the sugar of a leading soda drink. So if you need quick hydration and you want something that will work right away, if it's, this happened to me pretty frequently recently during the summer while playing golf. I'd hit about the 14th or 15th hole in spite of hydrating throughout the round. I'd hit the 14th or 15th hole and I would just run out of gas. And then I found various hydration drinks like this that are filled with electrolytes, and it would get me to the end of the round. So these type of doctor designed drinks really do work. Again, 3 times the electrolytes and half the sugar of the leading sport drink. Right now, Drip Drop is offering Locked On listeners 20% off your first order. Just head to dripdrop.com and use the promo code LOCKEDONCollege. Trojans now 3-0. They open up conference play with a 33-17 win over the Purdue Boilermakers. And I look at this and I say that this Trojan team is moving in the right direction, and that's good. So according to our listener here, I'm lame and he's gone. See ya. Take care. Thanks for dropping in. I would put up your comments, but they're also lame, just like you. So peace. The fact of the matter is that this Trojan team is loaded offensively and loaded defensively. And as you look at the numbers they put up today, look, Purdue is a undefeated team coming in, and the Trojans shut down the run game to 52 yards. That is a very nice performance. They also ran the ball themselves, producing a very balanced attack. Wayman Jordan, 77 yards, and that was with him starting the game, just not able to find an opening. The fact was that they were throwing the ball. Miava was stretching the field early on, but they couldn't find any openings for Wayman Jordan. Eli Sanders then came in and started to find some openings, and the line started to improve. By the third quarter, they were breaking open big holes for both of them, and they finished with a total of 178 yards on the ground, including 10 from Jordan Miava. King Miller, the freshman, had 17, but Eli Sanders with 75, and Wayman Jordan finished today 18 carries, 77 yards, including a touchdown, a long of 15, and Eli Sanders had a long of 20 yards. So they ran the ball well. They threw the ball well again. Jordan Miava, 17 of 28 for 282 yards. He found Jacoby Lane for 115 yards, Lake McCree for 67 yards, Makai Lemon for 63 yards, and Tanook Hines, who almost made one of those highlight reel one-handed catches in the end zone, which would have been spectacular, similar to I think it was Jacoby Lane who had one last week against Georgia Southern. He finished with 2 catches for 23 yards. Sadly, no throwing touchdowns because they didn't really need to with 3 interceptions. The Trojans defense didn't really give the Purdue Boilermakers all that much in the red zone or close to the red zone. Whenever they got down there, the Trojan defense would bow their neck. They had an interception in the end zone. And then Fitzgerald, I believe he had the one in the end zone as well. So 2 very crucial picks for him. And then that play I was talking about also in the third, which came just before the Jamal Jarrett pick 6, was a just fantastically bizarre, really unfortunate play for the Trojans. It worked out great for Purdue, which is another thing that leads me to believe that the Trojans won this game even more comfortably than the score would indicate. But it was a broken play on the third from Purdue. They had 2 backward passes that led to the quarterback Brown picking up the ball after it bounced. It was nearly intercepted by Eric Gentry, but it bounced. Brown happened to be standing in the right place. He picked the ball up and rumbled into the end zone for a touchdown to make it a little bit more interesting than we thought it was at that point. So that was just absolutely crazy. I don't know that I've ever seen a play like that. I guess you could throw in the what was it? The Music City Miracle back in 1999 for the Tennessee Titans, something kind of crazy with backward passes that lead to a long touchdown. It was reminiscent of that. So, the fact is that that was pure luck for Purdue. I mean, the Trojans were doing their job. This trick play, backward pass thing didn't work, but Gentry didn't get the pick 6 or the interception, and the ball bounced right into Brown's hands. And they, at that point, many of the Trojan defenders kind of thought the play was over, I think, and it turned out to be a touchdown for Purdue. There was one other play where 2 Trojan defenders, after Tuggle made a fantastic catch, and Tuggle had a nice game. He was the one guy really that you were kind of a little bit scared of for Purdue, along with Michael Jackson, who caught 7 balls for 70 yards. Tuggle had 4 catches for 69 yards, including a touchdown. And one of them was a big catch after 2 Trojan defenders just ran into each other. I'm like, come on, that can't happen. You have to be better than that. You can't be running into your own guy. So again, that would be the one thing I look at in this game and say they have to clean up. Similar to the Chargers in their nice win on Friday night in Brazil over the Chiefs. That's the one thing they need to work on, as well as cleaning up the coverage on the ends with the defensive backs. But beyond that, it was a fantastic performance for this USC team, leading to their 3rd win of the season, first in conference play, 33-17 the final. All right, let's look ahead and see what is coming up and see how we think it's going to go for I mentioned it last week, I believe, maybe it was week 1, that after this Purdue game, things do get tough. It's back at the Coliseum on the 20th to face Michigan State. That's a night game, 8:00 kick. Wow, that's late. So yeah, Michigan State's going to be tough without a doubt. Then they have top 10 ranked Illinois. That is TBD as to when it starts, but it is on the road in Champaign. Then they have Michigan, followed by Notre Dame, then Nebraska and Northwestern. So as somebody predicted, they would lose 4 of their next 6. I'm assuming they're talking about those 4, the next 4, Michigan State, Illinois, Michigan, and Notre Dame. I don't see the Trojans losing 4 in a row unless they just completely fall apart, because their offense is playing well. And Michigan is, they've had their issues so far this season, and so is Notre Dame. The one I'm most afraid of is the Illini at this point. Michigan State's undefeated, sure, but they haven't really played anybody yet. So it'll be their first real game. And, Notre Dame has struggled, but by the time we get to Notre Dame, it's going to be a long way down the road. That's October 18th. So we can't look that far ahead, nor can we look to Michigan at this point. Really, we should be looking at Michigan State, and that's it. Maybe a peek out of the side of our eye. We keep an eye on what's happening with the Illini, but we got to keep our eye on what's going on with Michigan State. So I'll tell you real quick who Michigan State has beaten. They beat Western Michigan 23-6. They had a close one against Boston College 42-40, and then they beat Youngstown State 41-24. So they really haven't played anybody yet. So I guess you could say, if you don't think Purdue is a formidable foe, that neither of the Trojans. So it could be a big one for both of them. Obviously, Michigan State comes in with a a different style of football than the Trojans are used to playing. But we have to assume that the mentality for this USC football team in the room, getting ready week after week, is changed. Being a member of the Big Ten, it has to. What they brought from the Pac-12 is completely different than what the Big Ten requires. So, yeah, it's going to take a while for them to change their philosophy and mentality, being more of a smash mouth team when they're not used to being that team. They're used to being a high flying team for a long time. So they are definitely improving things under D'Anton Lynn on defense, and we'll just hope that it continues against the Michigan State Spartans next week at the Coliseum, 8:00 kick on the 20th. That's going to do it for us here on the Locked On Trojans Postcast on the Locked On USC YouTube channel. Trojans post a 33-17 win over Purdue in West Lafayette to improve to 3-0. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Appreciate most of the comments. I am Pete Fox. We will talk next week. Have a good night. Take care.